أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, it's a pleasure to share this little journey with you. My name is AbdourahmanLasush. I am a Grenadian by birth. Many of you would not have heard of this little island in the Caribbean, but it's a very tiny island. You could sort of walk around it in a few hours. We have a very tiny fledgling Muslim community there. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, it will grow from strength to strength. Now, I am not of the youngest of generations. I was born on the 22nd of January 1937. So I think that makes me exactly 86 years of age now. And as I mentioned earlier on, I was a Christian up to the age of 57. That was in August 1993. A change took place in my life. Although I was born on the island of Grenada, which is approximately 100 kilometers by sea, probably, to the neighboring island of Trinidad. Trinidad, as you may know it, is a twin island called Trinidad and Tobago. And in Trinidad, there are a number of Asian Muslims. Historically, it is said that there were African Muslims as well, but the powers that be never wanted the Africans to practice Islam because the Africans were the tools by which the oppressors were able to enrich themselves. So it was necessary to keep Islam away from the Africans that they had brought as slaves to the Caribbean. However, later on, when it was no longer economically viable for the oppressors to continue with the slave trade, they decided on a word called emancipation, that is, to give freedom to the slaves. Freedom without land, freedom without housing, freedom without finance means that you are even deeper into slavery than ever before. That is the legacy of our foreparents back in the Caribbean. So we were, I wouldn't say replaced, but they brought in what is known as indentured labor. The indentured labor saw the Asians coming in, Muslims and Hindus, and Chinese as well. So we have to fast forward with the clock now, because that is giving you some background to the Caribbean situation. In 1961, I traveled to the United Kingdom, and by 1962, I joined the British Army, because the slogan at the time was "Join the Army and see the world." This might surprise you, but my first overseas station, or one of my first overseas stations, was a Muslim country. I was in Libya in 1961. up to 1964, we were doing internal security for King Idris, the Sanusi king. Unfortunately, no one ever told me about Islam. I never even heard the word Islam in Libya. You know, as a matter of fact, the little black Libyans were making fun of us as black people. So we are inferior black to them.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So these are the problems we have. These are the problems that we have encountered. Later on, I was to be transferred to Bahrain, and this might be before your time, before a lot of you were born, but we were repatriating the troops from Yemen, because Britain had controlled Yemen at one stage, so we were bringing down the troops via Sharjah and these places, which were not developed at this time. But again, I say to you, I've encountered lots and lots of Arabs, Muslims by name, and not one of them, not one, has ever invited me to Islam. So I didn't know what Islam was all about. You know, I didn't know at all what Islam was all about. However, again, to fast forward the clock, I came out of the army, and as the years rolled on, settled in London, and in 1993, I found myself at a crossroads in life. By that I mean that I felt I had achieved everything, but some things were lacking. What it was, I do not know. I was living a crazy type of life, getting married, getting divorced, always having my own home. So I was not homeless and I was not penniless, you know. But something was missing from my life. And in August of 1993, I was coming back from the supermarket one day, and I remember distinctly the words that I was uttering, because I always believed that there is a God. I did a lot of wrong things, many wrong things in my life, but I always knew that there was a God. And from time to time, I prayed. As a gambler, if I won, I used to thank God for me winning, you know. So that's the ignorance of Christianity. I was saying in a loud voice, "Oh God, please help me. There must be a way. There must be a way." I kept repeating that. I say, there must be a way. And as I was about to cross the road, my house is just on that side. As I was about to cross the road, a vehicle pulled up like that, and I sort of jumped back. And when I looked in the vehicle, I saw 3 people dressed like Brother Farooq in white. And my mind works very quickly. So I said to myself, I asked God for something, and He sent 3 people that look religious. They look like some kind of religious. He didn't send somebody to encourage me to do something wrong. So these people stopped and they asked me a direction. They said, "Do you know where such and such a road is? Because we are trying to get to a mosque there." I said, I don't know where, I don't. They said to me, "Why don't you come and visit us there? We're going to this place." And I left them, and I went home. And something started stirring inside of me. An excitement, and I'm saying to myself, why? What is this? But I got dressed, and I went to this place. When I went to this place, I saw scaffolding up outside, like they were doing some repairs there. And when I looked inside, I saw people sitting on the floor. They were drinking tea. So they said, come inside, brother, come inside. So I went in, but I was well dressed, you know, I had on my suit and things. They said, sit down. So I said to myself, these people are crazy. They want me to sit on the floor in my suit, you know. What's so? Anyhow, I sat down.
Okay.
And one of them gave me a little leaflet. It was no longer than this.
Okay.
But on it was written, for seekers of the truth. For seekers of the truth. I read it, but it didn't really do anything to me. So I asked them, I said, can you come to visit my house so I can talk to you? They said to me, you know, we are very busy. We won't be finished until late in the night. I said, it doesn't matter, I live by myself, come. And they did come. Now, I have to tell you at this point that I know nothing about Islam. I don't know nothing about the different sect in Islam. However, those people came and they promised to come back to collect me on a Thursday night to take me to a place where they gather on Thursday night, and they go out from there on a Friday. They go out. I think by now you ought to know who these people are. They were Tabligh Jamaat. Tabligh Jamaat. Alhamdulillah, how I took Shahada, I don't know. But I know that within a very short space of time, I recited the kalima and I became Muslim. I was given, I had no problem in accepting Islam. What I did not realize is by accepting Islam, I had to give up everything else. And this is August month. For those of you who might know, but London has one of the biggest street carnivals on the planet.
Okay.
And the last weekend of August. And I am a part of this. And suddenly I realized, what have I done here? What have I done? So I told the people they wanted me to go out with them. I said to them, look, I cannot go because I have to take my medication and I have to tell my children that I won't be home for that weekend, so they don't come to visit me. They said, okay, there's a phone down at the bottom of the stairs. You can go and they wanted me to go out with them for 3 days. So as I put my foot on the stairs to go down, I slipped. I slipped. So I picked myself up and I went back. I never went to the phone because I'm analyzing things in my head. Why did this happen? So I went back and I said to them, okay, I'll go with you for 3 days. And that was the beginning of something. It did not last very long. I think it lasted for about just a year and something. But during that time, I took it so strong that every weekend I was going out with them until I did even 40 days. I went with them for 40 days.
You are one of Kodamas.
Yeah, but one of the things that happened during that 40 days that was to change my mind from them, they had a big ijtima in a place called Dewsbury. And when I went to Dewsbury, I saw that there was a library there. And for the first time, I'm hearing, for the few days I'm in Islam, a few months then, I'm hearing about Bukhari and Muslim. So I see this Bukhari and Muslim, so I decided to buy the 4 volumes of Muslim and the 9 or 10 volume of Bukhari. So I parcel that up and I have it near my thing, sleeping on it. When the Amir saw this, he was very angry. What do you need this for? What do you need this for? You have Tablighi Nisab and Fazali Amal. Why do you need this? I want to read, I want to know about Islam, that's why. Alhamdulillah, Shaitan did play a little part in all of this, because I could have stuck it out a little bit with them more and learned at least to read the Quran and maybe picked up the Arabic language. But Shaitan put a wedge between them and myself. And within the next week, just as how I met them, exactly in the same way, 2 brothers came up to me. I was in a supermarket, and they asked me, well, where are you from, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, these people that I came to Islam, and they tell me, no. This is not real Islam. Come down to a place called Brixton. Maybe you heard of Brixton. Yeah? A lot of controversy has happened there in the past years, but that was the seat of the Dawah Salafiyah, in the early times. So my journey took me to Brixton, where I listened to lectures from a number of scholars. In those days, Sheikh Rabi and Sheikh Mukbil and Sheikh Al-Albani, Sheikh Ibn Baz, Sheikh Uthaymeen, Sheikh Fawzan, these were the... Then Brixton started to fall out with Sheikh Rabi, etc., etc. But then I moved from there and I went to take care of my mother. My mother, after giving her dawah, she embraced Islam at age 81. Yes, my mother embraced Islam at age 81, and alhamdulillah, I took her to Umrah. And it was when I was taking her on her second Umrah, she passed away in London. So, my brothers, that is my history of coming into Islam. I went down to Grenada to take care of my mother. I spent 4 years there, and during that time, I was calling the people to Islam. A number of people came to Islam, and I didn't want to say it, but the brother told me I can go ahead and say it. This young man here, Farouk, he was about 18 or 19 when I met him. and he took Shahada in 2021?
In 2001.
2001, sorry. In 2001. So it's 22 years now since he's been, you know. So my journey took me from the Caribbean here to Gambia. And it was a wonderful experience. It was that time after burying my mother, I came with my wife to visit here because some brothers had moved from London to a remote place in the Gambia called Sutusinjan. And I went to visit them there, but I wasn't happy with their location inside.
Okay.
Plus that I had a lot of medical problems that I had to be, just in case, I had to be near hospital and things like that. But I loved the area, and I went down by the riverside and found a nice piece of land down there, which I bought during that time. And our brother here, Mr. Bojan, he knows the people up there very well. Yeah. And he knows of my connection up there. Alhamdulillah, a lot of it is history. I've worked with a lot of the people of knowledge here in this country. We did a lot with schools, and we built masjids, and this is just one of the examples. Our beloved friend, Brother Jibril Kujabi, one of the first responsibilities that I took on with Talending Institute was to build segregated toilets and things for the boys and girls in that huge institute, you know. I did the same thing in Bundung and in many other parts of the country. In Sutusinjan as well. Yeah. I forgot. Yeah. I'm so happy that all of you are here, and I see the future. I see a bright future for Gambia. Inshallah. Wallahi, Aki, you understand? Yeah. Don't worry about all their different organizations and this and that, and you have to be a member of this and that. Rubbish. Okay. Yeah. The Prophet ﷺ, and Allah knows man better than the man knows themselves. Yeah, of course. And He made these rules and regulation for man until the end of time. So He knows everything that will happen. You understand? Just be prepared for it. Group yourselves together. And you know, this one is specialized in this, that one is specialized in that. Consolidate yourself. Forget about their different departments and different things. We don't need that.
Okay, yeah, of course.
We don't need that. Follow Islam and everything will be okay. Quran and Sunnah.